If you use all 8 of these techniques in your serve, it's as good as Musetti's. All right, number 1, this is going to be a quick video, by the way. Film yourself serving from the back view and check these 8 things. I wonder how many of them you have. All right, number 1, if you have a correct continental grip, then at the beginning of your serve, your racket face will be open. Now, his racket's pretty low like Federer, but if you were to lift the racket up more in front of him, then his racket would be open at about 45 degrees. That is indicative of the proper continental grip. Check video, see if your racket face is open. Number 2, you should have what is called ball up, tip down. When the ball is out of your hand, have the tip of your racket pointing down. That doesn't mean, by the way, that you stop your racket. Like you'll notice as he's tossing the ball, his right hand is rising. So he's lifting the racket up as he's tossing. So he's not waiting with his racket down here, but he is flexing the wrist or having a flexed wrist to allow the tip of the racket to be down. That delays the racket. And whenever you're late, think about being late to work or late to school or late to the dentist. What do you have to do? You got to drive quickly. You got to go fast. So we create racket speed by being late or delaying the racket, and then you're forced to swing faster. Number 3, notice when he lifts the racket up that the tip of the racket is pointing the same direction as his chest. Most recreational players who struggle with their serve have the tip of their racket pointing the same direction as their back. So as you lift the racket, check video. Where's your chest pointing? That's where the tip of your racket should be pointing as well. That gets you primed. It's called palm down, by the way. His palm is facing down. This gets you primed and ready to use the proper throwing motion during the serve. All right, number 4. This is an interesting one. There are 3 things that happen basically simultaneously. All right. They are the legs drive up, the left arm, or I should say the tossing arm, drops down in front of you, and the racket comes in and hits the birthday hat. If we zoom in, watch how all 3 of those things basically happen simultaneously, right? He is driving the legs up, hitting the birthday hat, and that left arm is dropping, his tossing arm is dropping. That is the proper sequencing to maximize the shoulder stretch. So check this out. The body should go up as the racket goes down. Watch his body go up as the racket goes down. Check this out. Body goes up as the racket goes down. Well, something's got to give. And what is that? The shoulder. And you get a great racket drop, a really great shoulder stretch. And like a catapult, boom, you will absolutely crush the serve. Most recreational players I see, they drop the racket all the way down to here. By the time, like right there, by the time they ever begin driving the body up, that's usually because their toss is too high and the racket keeps going and the body can't explode up because the ball hasn't dropped yet. So lower your toss if you find yourself with what is called an early racket drop. But really, it's not an early racket drop. It's a late leg drive. Lower the toss and watch how the sequencing fixes itself. All right, number 5. I want you to notice that as he goes up to the ball, his strings are actually pointing down. This is completely opposite of I'll say 70% of recreational tennis players around the world where the strings are facing up, called the waiter's tray. The easiest way to practice this is with a continental grip, hit the ball with the wrong side of the racket. Actually use the wrong face of the racket with your strings facing down as a way of practicing how to go up in a supinated position. Obviously, you don't want to hit serves and matches that way, but it's just training your brain to feel the racket position that the pros have. The pros, before they go up to the ball or as they're going up to the ball, they have their strings down, which then necessitates pronation into contact. All right, number 6, look at video footage of your serve from the back view and go to contact. And I want you to try to find your tossing hand. Your tossing hand should be visible on your hitting side. Most recreational players have their tossing arm down behind them or on their left if they're right-handed. When you strike the ball, your tossing arm should be across your stomach. This helps stop your body's rotation to help accelerate your hitting arm. So that means when you drop the tossing arm out in front of you, it should then pull in and across your body. Think of a doctor putting your broken arm in a sling, and now your broken arm in a cast is in a sling in front of you. Notice his left hand could actually reach into his right pocket. It's right there where he could actually grab another ball from his pocket. That's where you want your tossing hand when you strike the ball. It's called the Power X because if you keep your arm there, then your arms go crossed in the finish. It's a great way to finish. You're going to get a ton of power. Number 7, we're going here. Check out his racket facing off to the right. This is insane, right? His racket is higher than his head and his strings are facing off to the right. This is just a continuation of the pronation that occurred where his strings were facing down, right? He could basically use the wrong side of the racket if he wants to. So he goes up. Now his racket's on edge and now he keeps pronating and the racket keeps continuing. In fact, like right here, you can see his strings are actually facing slightly up. If you have this position, then you will most likely get to this position. And last, by the way, that's the fastest way to move the racket through contact, huge amounts of power. Number 8, this is a big one. I want you to notice where his racket is when he lands. Look where his racket is. His racket is on his left side, and that's when his foot just hit the ground. Watch it again. His left foot hits the ground right now, and his racket is slightly on the left side. What I typically see with recreational players, because they do not use enough leg, they do not drive up enough, they are landing with their racket basically at shoulder level, and they've already hit the ground. As long as your knees don't hurt, your hips don't hurt, you don't have bad ankles, if you can do it, explode up so much that by the time your racket goes down and across onto the left side of your body, again, if you're right-handed, that by the time you land, your racket is all the way on this side. That's indicative of using a ton of racket speed and a ton of leg drive. Now, if winning more singles matches is important to you, then you definitely need to check out the new Rules of Singles by Fuzzy Yellow Balls. This is where Will Hamilton from Fuzzy Yellow Balls teams up with Craig O'Shaughnessy, the leading stats guy in the world on both the men's and women's sides, what's working on the pro tours and what's not. And he's teaching it to you in this incredible course. What's really cool is every single tactic and strategy comes with a video. Here's Craig right here. This guy is an absolute genius when it comes to singles strategy on the tour and how you can copy it to start winning more matches. If this is the kind of instruction you crave to help you win more matches, then grab the Fuzzy Yellow Balls app. You can do so by clicking the button on the screen right now. So click right there to check out the Fuzzy Yellow Balls app so you can start winning more matches. Film yourself from the back view. Make sure that you have all 8 of these techniques. If you do, there's no doubt you're going to gain confidence, win more matches, and play much better tennis. This is Ryan Reedy from 2minutetennis.net. You got this.